Thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogens. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It's Tuesday, June 13th. And today is National Weed Your Garden Day, because who doesn't love weeds in your garden? It's also World Pet Memorial Day, National Forklift Day, because you couldn't lift anything without a forklift, and a National Random Acts of Light Day, whatever that's supposed to mean. It's got to be some hippie stuff, as well as International Albinism Awareness Day. Not sure about that, but I'm sure someone will tell me all about that, as well as National Kitchen Klutzes Day in America. So you probably shouldn't pick up any knives today. It's also International Axe Throwing Day, because that's what you should be doing, as well as National Call Your Doctor when you hurt yourself by throwing axes. And finally is also World Softball Day and National Sewing Machine Day, because embroidery is important.
Isn't it also National Indictment Day too, right?
No, it's not National Indictment Day. It's National Freedom Day.
Yeah, look.
You don't even want to go into that one with me.
We want to celebrate the indictment.
It's Natural Championship. We're celebrating everything. Championships from the NBA.
You guys celebrate the fact that our country's turned into a banana republic. You can go ahead and do that. But thank you for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. We're live every Monday through Friday on YouTube and audio only on Clubhouse. If you are joining us in Clubhouse, you can also participate in the show by raising your hand if you have a brief comment on the story most recently presented. But kicking it off first, that's right, we have the dope dad himself. That's right, Rico Lamitte, the Quasimodo caretaker, the professional backpedaler. He may be even a backstroker too, but he's also he's also the father of little baby Zozo, and that's why he is the dope dad. That's right, it's Rico Lamitte.
What's wrong with the backstroke?
I mean, depends on where you're stroking your back.
Deathstroke. All right, man. I appreciate that, Jason, through and through. My story today is a sad one, because all good things must eventually come to an end. As of last week, the world's biggest and most popular video live stream focused platform, Twitch, is no longer allowing users to directly market cannabis products. A truly sad day for all involved. What's really made Twitch so popular with streamers over the years is their freedom to pretty much do what every other major platform does not allow. Over the years, Twitch has revolutionized how creators monetize their content, allowing for in-stream tips, the ability to hawk unregulated products live on air, something that competitors have long had strict policies against. And although enforcement has been uneven and sketchy at best. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok all have strict policies governing what can and can't be said and done on their watch through mandatory long and confusing user and content creator agreements. Until now, Twitch has remained the major platform outlier, letting streamers pretty much do what they want, including marketing of products that may or may not be so legal, depending on where you are. The biggest reason Twitch became and remains so popular is unlike main competitors, Facebook and YouTube, it doesn't try to be everything and please everyone. The upside of a company focused on becoming the best at doing specifically one thing better than anybody else, is it tends to build a passionate, loyal community of followers. The downside, any major changes made to the core product offering or the rules that govern its fans are usually met with outsized backlash. And last week's news is no different. Let's take it back to 2012. Twitch had 20 million followers per month, making it a prime niche market target for acquisition by a major tech player looking to expand its portfolio offerings into rapidly expanding video game market. Amazon, of course, became that company. And in 2014, for the cool cost of $970 million, Twitch fit the bill to achieve Jeff Bezos' long-term vision of slowly taking over a video game industry that was having a major moment with the expansion of mobile gaming through increased smartphone sales. It was hard for both Twitch streaming faithfuls and Amazon shareholders to see the vision back then, but since the original purchase, Twitch has experienced unprecedented growth. And in less than 10 years, that 20 million monthly viewers has ballooned to 140. But after last week's update to its branded content guidelines, sponsorship of cannabis products or brands are unfortunately now prohibited. Per the article, as of June 6th, Twitch now prohibits quote unquote burned in logos or on streamer videos and displays, an unwelcome announcement that was met with fierce criticism from streamers who voiced their opinions about how the change would affect their ability to have relationships with the sponsors. By the 7th, the very next day, Twitch released a statement explaining that they'd be removing those guidelines. And this was their statement. Yesterday, we released a branded content guidelines that impacted your ability to work with sponsors to increase your income from streaming. These guidelines are bad for you and bad for Twitch, and we're removing them immediately. We missed the mark with the policy language and will rewrite the guidelines to be clearer. Thank you for sharing your concerns. So then they came up with new language. It was very direct. Twitch's current branded guidelines say this: streamers featuring products or services based on an exchange of value, such as being paid or receiving goods or services. This ranges from product placements, endorsements, channel sponsorships, and more. Under the banned product categories, Twitch describes that it does not allow any services that are in violation of its community guidelines, such as risky gambling products, unauthorized sharing of private information, and illegal products and services such as selling, advertising, or trafficking drugs, firearms, counterfeit goods, or other illegal goods and services. The move comes at a very peculiar time as Amazon looks to further bolster their position in cannabis. They're no longer testing candidates to become Amazon employees. They've backed pro-cannabis Republican Nancy Mace, and they have been selling Delta 8 gummies and other cannabis products, not explicitly Delta 9 products, but they have been selling cannabis products. So my question is this: what is Amazon's big move here? Why are they stifling the freedom that they've allowed Twitch to have for so long? And why are they allowing Twitch streamers to continue selling alcohol products or tobacco products on their platform, on a platform that is has a large following with the youth as well? I'm Rico Lamitte, dopest dad on the street. Let's talk about it.
I mean, Rico, Twitch is tripping right now. I mean, the gaming population is one of the largest populations that actually consumes cannabis on a regular basis.
And
right.
I think the biggest thing here is Amazon, man. I don't think it has anything to do with Twitch, really. It has more to do with Amazon and them controlling their biggest cash cow for the future.
I mean, that just it makes absolutely zero sense to me why they are doing this.
It's all
At all.
it's all about monetization. If they're promoting products, I mean, there's revenues that they aren't getting for kind of hosting them on their site, right? So to me, it seems like this is like a way to say, okay, come back to the table and give us money to let you do this if you're on our platforms and you're hosting your own content and advertising for cannabis product.
But is this just for cannabis or is it for all products?
It is cannabis, is illegal products and services, selling or trafficking any products tied to drugs, firearms, counterfeit goods, or anything else illegal.
Got it.
Yeah, they're tripping. This is
they're tripping. Bezos is tripping.
Bezos is tripping. I don't get it. How you're going to be a major corporation and come out and endorse federal legalization legislation, and then yet have your company come around and do a backslided policy like this, especially when you were allowing it previously, and now you're saying you're going to switch the game up all of a sudden. It just makes zero sense to me.
It might also be an indicator that they're moving into like some serious plays in the cannabis industry, and so they need to like kind of balance what they're doing outside of those states regulated kind of platforms.
Buying that. I'm not buying that.
I mean, that makes more sense to me than anything, really.
I think 100%, Saman. I believe that this is a repositioning for Amazon so they can control the narrative when it comes to broadcasting or major broadcasting and legal or illegal products.
They have the biggest platform for brands, right? They can literally reach every single American in this country, and that's probably soon to be global. So it's like, to me, they have to watch out because they are the gatekeepers for the future.
Yeah, they have
all that.
Well, 140.
Well, maybe they're going to go into the
monthly.
Maybe they're going to go into delivery business, and they want to control it, and they want to monopolize their own brand of cannabis.
How are they going to do that when drone deliveries are banned, Todd?
There's local Amazon. There's local warehouses everywhere.
Are you going to have one of those little robots before it pops open the top and lets you grab your weed out of the little case?
It's going to be on track, or is it going to be changed to on pack?
Yeah. Well, Uber's getting into delivery, so why wouldn't Amazon?
Yeah.
Uber is not getting into delivery. That was in, and that was in Canada.
Yeah. So
yes, it's a test market.
Right.
Really.
That's right.
Canada is not the U.S.
Oh, it's not.
They'll be here sooner than.
Well, I mean, kind of, but not really.
It's United States North.
Yes.
Right.
No, it's the communist area of Canada.
Yeah, but Saman, going back to your comment, 140 million unique viewers, not views, viewers.
Yep.
Monthly on that platform. I think there's a major a play and a leading indicator that Amazon is probably within the next few months going to be making some major moves within
That's
cannabis.
Absolutely right. Yep, that's absolutely right. Man.
Dale, we have Dale Sky Jones joining us today. Dale, do you have any thoughts?
Good morning, friends. Yeah, this is an interesting story because Amazon has been rather cannabis friendly, and I can't imagine that they wouldn't want to partake the moment interstate commerce is legal. And frankly, Amazon, I mean, they do use regional distribution hubs, so interstate commerce just makes the most sense for them as a global international company to not touch this with a 10-foot pole. I noticed that they are defining legal under federal terms versus state terms, because you can also make that argument. But yeah, they've always positioned themselves to be the next best player in whatever market they enter. And they've entered just about every market at this point, from prescription drugs all the way through home health care. I don't see why cannabis would be any different, frankly.
And we know that he spends money in this space. We know he spends money on research. He's not, he's not
shy.
Yeah, about about cannabis. And I absolutely agree with Dale. Very good insight. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what?
I just want, but I want to just clarify one thing though for everyone watching. It's not that Jeff Bezos is a cannabis fan; he's a business fan. So, like, you know, he's
No,
just a smart businessman.
It's about
He's
Andy
just a smart
Jassy. Andy Jassy. Jeff,
He does
Jeff
not
Bezos-
use all the products
Jeff-
he sells on
yeah.
Amazon.
No,
I
he-
Jeff
promise
Bezos is
you.
not there. Jeff Bezos is riding on penis-shaped rockets. That's Jeff Bezos. He's space cowboy.
You know
He's
what?
space
You can
colonizer.
buy him a special shaped pipe to put that in and smoke it when you are good and ready and when he is good and ready. But until then, you know, you also have to take a look though. This is where like innovation lives with small business, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's also the American way for large business to snap up small business. That is where innovation not just survives, but thrives. These large companies don't innovate. They look for the small ones to do it.
correct, and they buy them. Yeah,
You know, it's
That's
like the
right.
ocean, the upwell of nutrients. You know, the small businesses are the nutrients of the large businesses, and we just have to make sure that we don't.
we are the phytocannabinoid plankton, if you will. Yes, absolutely.
You know, the best thing Jeff Bezos has going for him is his initials. And on that, we're
JV.
gonna go we'll be right back.
You're gonna get me to blush 3 times in 2 minutes. All right, that's awesome.
How's it going, guys? Saman Razani coming to you from Green Street here with Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast available on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify? Tune in now and check it out.
Do you think we're going to be kicked off of Amazon podcasts?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Just like that.
And
Going
that-
to Amazon jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What does Amazon jail look like? You didn't have bathroom breaks in there?
There's no bathroom in the break.
Yeah, there's no bathroom in there.
Looks like a big warehouse, and they load stuff onto pallets, and then they ship it out to everybody.
Last time,
That's what
They
it
just
looks like.
load you into a pallet and ship you back to China. Yeah, it's
Yes.
last time I checked, Amazon was a big open air space.
It is
Very,
interesting
very
about
lush
Twitch,
plant.
though. You know, these shoot off companies all have different sets of rules, and within that company, they have been. I mean, I'm watching this with multiple YouTube, Twitter. They're making drastic decisions, including just saying, "Well, we're no longer going to, you know, fact check, do what you want," all the way to allowing cannabis. State by state. That's what Twitter did, to say you can only advertise within a legal state, and it has to be geo-targeted, and you know there's a whole list of rules, but it's starting to get allowed. So you know, just like Meta has a different approach with Instagram than it does Facebook. It's different groups and crews making these decisions, and sometimes it's not even about their base. It's about the government they're trying to impress or not be
Sounds like
regulated by, if you will. So I immediately thought to like, which folks, I don't know, maybe the House Republicans that they're, you know, trying to get on their good side. You know, it's not always
too.
what it seems.
they should be giving the House Republicans good side. We got to keep it going though. We're gonna keep it going. I'm going right into my next story. So,
Let's do it.
all right, here we go, you guys. Are you ready for this? This is huge news. Okay, because a mother
Huge?
and son, yes, huge, YUGE, Todd. Mother and son create a
Huge.
reverse edible chocolate for a soft landing from a marijuana high. That's right. The legalization of adult use marijuana in Massachusetts has more people than ever experimenting with cannabis. But with that experimentation come a high you may not like or expect. A mother and son team, I wonder how old her son is, because obviously they're dealing with weed. Mother and son team from Boston believe they may have a solution called soft landing. In a quote, "I like to describe it as a reverse edible," says recent Cornell University graduate Eli Stoloff. In a quote, he says, "So whereas a normal edible brings you up with THC, soft landing brings you down." Stoloff says during his time at Cornell, he heard stories of students taking edibles with no easy way to come down quickly. In a quote, he says, "It's because of the delayed effect of edibles," Stoloff told WBZ TV. He says, "You eat a gummy bear, wait 10 minutes, I haven't felt anything, and you eat 2 more. An hour later, you're on the bathroom floor wondering where you are. Stoloff and his mother, Alice Stone, developed a chocolate bar they say gives marijuana users more control over their high. Stone is an entrepreneur with background in traditional methods of healing. Together, they discovered a medical journal article describing a naturally occurring molecule found in a number of herbs and spices that could reverse the effects of THC, the psychoactive ingredient in cannabis. In a quote, after a lot of trial and error and tinkering, we came to the final formula of the best way to deliver the maximum amount of this molecule, Stoloff said. Then they took the next steps and had a medical survey conducted on Soft Landing, which found 80% rating in effective or very effective. Sean Hope, the co-founder of Yamba Market in Cambridge, is now an investor, and he has tried the chocolate out for himself, and he says, it really balanced me out. Hope told WBZ, and I felt the impact right away. And my conclusion was, this works. And Stoloff and Stone believe they found the right chemistry for the future. And he also says, I think we've got a winner here, and I feel like together we can be unstoppable, Stoloff said. Next up is Soft Landing is nearly set to hit the consumer market and remains active in looking for its next round of investors to scale production. Well, what do you guys, I bet you, Rico, I bet you this is milk chocolate and not dark chocolate. Just saying. This is Jason Beck reporting for the High at 9 News Hour.
Wow.
Jay, are they saying what molecule they
Yes,
discovered?
that was my question.
No, because there is no it's not like some secret molecule.
No, they said
I know.
spices. They said spices and herbs that counteract. That's what it
Listen,
said.
K2. This sounds like K2.
Listen, this is what it is. It's just
they did say
terpenes.
Molly. They did say
No, look.
It's terpenes, right? It's beta caryophyllene.
Yeah,
molecule.
look, it's things like
Yeah.
beta caryophyllene, things like linalool,
right.
things like limonene, gingerol from ginger. I use a ginger lily extract in one of my our suppository lines, and it has a lot of synergistic effects digestively and also, in enzymatically. When you're eating cannabis, you're not getting the same delta 9 high you are when you're smoking it. Your lungs absorb that and it goes right to your bloodstream like a lot faster. When you eat it, your body has to digest it. That takes time and that takes effort by your body. And so there's other compounds that act as prodrugs, essentially taking the metabolism instead of it metabolizing the cannabis. It metabolizes these prodrug kind of ideas, and your body can digest the rest of that product without converting it all to a different cannabinoid, a different isomer. So it's just terpenes. It's not anything special. That's why they can't say it, because if they say it, everyone's just going to be like, this is bullshit. But I commend them. I mean, look, entrepreneurs are great, but look, this is the kind of shit that gets all the cannabis people in trouble, because they're out there raising money. They're like, oh, we got this thing. It's going to make you look.
This is like the Ric Flair.
I commend them. But look, people, just open your eyes. It's our dear departed friend Bobby Caldwell.
I see this being sold at every 7-Eleven across the country.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like next to 5 Hour Energy and all of that. It's like, hey, you take too many edibles, boom, here, take this chocolate bar, and this will soak you out.
This is not the Narcan for an edible overdose. Okay, this is not gonna just solve the problem. It's like you get a more balanced effect. It doesn't hit you so hard. That's really what it is.
There is a product that works like that. I'm not endorsed by them or anything, but the one product that I was introduced to by my doctors in the cannabis industry that has worked just like that is I won't even say the name. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to endorse them, but it uses Olivatol. It's an olive extract, and it actually does bring you down from a crazy high. And
I'm sure it's definitely some part of these. It's a part of just a lot of plants. It's just finding the right ratio of those things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You think they're going to sell these chocolate bars at airports?
Well, my question is, if you're high and you eat another edible, does it affect you immediately? Isn't it going to take some time to digest before you actually feel the effects?
The article didn't allude to that, Nicole, but common sense would tell me you're 100% correct on that.
Right.
But if common sense was so common, ...
And Jason, I'm not sure if they're going to have milk chocolate, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have white chocolate.
Oh God. Stop it. I was making the white chocolate or the milk chocolate comment, Rico, because I always say about the glass of milk to take your edible high away.
Have I been gone for so long? Jason has 2 screens now. I'm confused.
We're
I've only been gone for 2 weeks. What's going on?
Glitching.
we're trying to do stuff over here, Nicole.
Okay, cool.
You've been on vacation. We've been.
I have. I've been gone. I'm like, wait, are my eyes playing tricks on me?
Mar-a-Lago's been under attack lately. If you haven't heard it in the news.
Yeah, I gotta switch and move. Now you see me, now you don't, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Now I'm here, now I'm there. It's the real Matrix going on.
I think we see a box of documents behind you there.
There
Jason.
is. Well, we vacated all of those, and they've all been moved over to Hunter Biden's and the Biden's garage over there in Delaware.
Just better hope that toilet, that gold-plated toilet, doesn't get backed up again. You can have like
He said he wanted to tear them all around Chinatown.
Jason.
Huh?
Stop flushing and eating the documents, Jason.
I do not eat documents. I eat food. Okay. Yeah.
No, he wipes his ass with documents.
Stop it.
Right.
Stop it.
That's
You
right.
guys are so crazy.
A nuclear document.
Oh, you know what? We're gonna go right into the next story. We have the chancellor from Oakland University today with us, the lovely Mrs. Dale Sky Jones with us today.
That's right.
OG.
It's Mrs. Jones if you're nasty.
Yeah.
My story.
What's going on with it?
Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones. Mrs.
I
Jones.
am bringing us to Dallas this morning for not news. Headline: Black people make up most arrests for small amounts of marijuana in Dallas, police say. Yeah, no surprise, not news. But what is news is finally Texas, the residents have pushed for decriminalization of 4 ounces or less of cannabis. And this analysis comes in direct response to that push. So a news report by Dallas's top police watchdog and activists show Black people are overrepresented in low-level marijuana arrests, spurring calls for an expansion of the de-enforcement policy in the city. The study examined policy arrest data from 2018 to 2022, but acknowledged room for error because of incomplete or missing entries in Dallas's database. Missing entries, that's suspicious. Although the overall number of low-level arrests steadily have dropped, the report found that people of color were disproportionately impacted, especially for possessions of up to 2 ounces and criminal trespassing. So we are talking about very low amounts, low-level crimes, not crimes against others. That was my editorial. Public intoxication arrests, which made up 64% of low-level arrests, also showed a racial disparity with a smaller gap. The authors called for police and city officials to expand the marijuana de-enforcement policy from 2 to 4 ounces, deprioritize arrests for other misdemeanors, make the cannabis possession policy and ordinance not subject to leadership changes so that the next guy can't just flip it back, and create a task force to minimize police interactions for low-level offenses and give the Oversight Office free and unfettered access to police data. That is the story. I am happy to engage in the discussion around racial disparity in marijuana arrests and how we got this far and what we might want to do about it. Team?
Oh boy.
Listen, Dale, I'm so glad that you brought this story to our attention. But what I'm really happy to hear is that the citizens of Texas have had enough. Yes. You know, Texas and Florida, it's kind of a short list of states that I'm like, if I don't have to go, I'm not going. And Texas being that state that it's like, man, how long are you all that live there going to put up with the shits? Because leave it up to your elected officials. They are not anywhere near having this conversation. And so I'm really happy that Texans have finally decided to stand up and say something, do something based on the facts. I mean, and like you said, this is not a new fact. So it's about damn time.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well said, about damn time, and so much more to do, Nicole. This is, one study in Dallas to show them what they already knew. And that is ultimately, I don't know if I'm allowed to do a shameless plug at this point, Jason.
Oh yes, please.
Because
Plug it up.
What the hell do you do about this? And, in California back in 2010, we tried to legalize. What we wound up doing was decriminalizing. But what we got signed by the governor, Schwarzenegger at the time, Republican governor, an 87% in arrests. That is 9 out of 10 people not going to jail after being pulled over while driving while black. So we had like a huge effect on decriminalization, even though legalization failed. We were protecting everyone 20 and under too. But what also happened is, because it was no longer a felony, it was now just a misdemeanor, they stopped tracking. So now you have to go deep dive into local sheriff office, file cabinets down in the basement bathroom, locked away, to find out what the racial disparity continues to be, even here in California. So the problem hasn't changed. It's just shifted to a softer, gentler prohibition. And what we're trying to do with cities like this, like the city of Los Angeles, is addressing it this very weekend. This is my shameless plug, people. So if you are anywhere near the LA area, consider this your invite. Social equity networking events are super important. This is for the entire city of Los Angeles. So all legal businesses and ancillary businesses are welcome, but especially highlighting social equity businesses, which we will be doing this Saturday at the Mayfair Hotel. Disproportionately Black and brown communities now need ways to get back to even, things like expungement clinics and safe banking. So being able to bring DCR resources, full disclosure, I offer technical assistance under contract for the City of Los Angeles Department of Cannabis Regulation, the Social Equity Program, Business Licensing and Compliance Program. And so I'm hoping that you all will join us and come meet one another this Saturday at the Mayfair Hotel. You can go to Event High to RSVP, and you can also go to the city website, that is cannabis.lacity.gov, and just look up LA Unite. That is this weekend, June 17th from 3 to 9.
And you said it's at the Mayfair Hotel. What's the address to the Mayfair Hotel?
Oh, you would ask me that right off the top, and that is why I use Google Maps. But it is downtown LA, the historic Mayfair. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And there's something really important happening here that I want to highlight real quick, Jason, if I may.
Okay.
The three big problems that, really every business is dealing with, and especially social equity businesses. Number one, of course, investment money. Number two, real estate. Number three, get your shit sold, right? Get seen, get onto shelves.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is an opportunity to, from 3 to 5 only, we're doing something called supply chain speed dating, so that we can help normal businesses diversify their shelves, reflect what communities want to see sold. It's also an excellent corporate responsibility play. And frankly, these social equity companies have special relationships with their customers that you're able to tap into by working with them. And social equity companies have strength in numbers to come together and work with one another and just keep that dollar circulating longer. So this is that event from 3 to 5, but the networking goes all the way to 9 at the Mayfair.
And I am going to be there.
Yes, you are.
I am going to show up over there, and they have a smoking section over there at the Mayfair Hotel, and I will be there smoking the best weed in the world.
On the rooftop, BYOB. Ooh. Yes, it is 1256 West 7th Street. Thank you, Mr. Jones, who will also be there with me. I will see you in LA. I will be there all day. So it's on West 7th Street in Los Angeles.
So head to Event High and make sure you head to the Event High.
Yeah, make sure, exactly. Well, no, make sure you make no. We don't want to be drug driving. We want you to arrive sober and then get high with us.
I mean, there's a shitty parking downtown Los Angeles.
Listen, we're going to have a live DJ on the rooftop. We've got a cash bar downstairs. We've got a non-alcoholic bar on the rooftop, so that you can BYOB and just have yourself, have some fun. Just bring you, bring a great attitude, bring your business cards. And, if you are a buyer, bring your ass to Supply Chain Speed Networking. If you represent any company that is looking to bring social equity brands into their business, whether it's retail, distro, frankly, manufacturing, there's a lot of folks that need these connections with one another, and it will, like I said, improve your bottom line.
Oh, yeah. And with that, we got to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.
Keeping up to date on the evolving policies of relevant state, local, and federal governments is key to success. When the future of your business is at stake, you need representation as dedicated as you are. With a maze of laws and regulations surrounding cannabis, hemp, and psychedelics, knowing where to begin can be a challenge. Good thing the law offices of Omar Figueroa features a skilled, highly focused team ready to guide you through it all. They're accepting new clients in California and New York. So make sure you check them out at info@omarfigueroa.com.
All right, whatever you're doing, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And while you're at it, head over to www.highat9news.com. Make sure you sign up for that newsletter. We've done a lot of things to fix it, so you should get a confirmation email in your inbox. You then have to hit that confirmation if you want to receive anything from us. And of course, we have tons of merch for you to be fresh to death. Also, too, make sure if you want us to pay attention to your chats in the chat, make them a super chat, as well as make sure you tell your friends all about us, because organic growth is the best growth. Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
Up next, it is the golden-voiced, Las Vegas-based Dope Granddaddy, who's the co-founder of the Smuggleverse, president and founder of Digipath Labs. Coming to the stage and breaking us off with a little Talk About It Tuesday love, Todd Denkin.
I really love that intro. I want to save that so I use that more often. Thank you, sir. Yes, being in the testing business, I have a story about testing and some dirty weed in Denver. The title is State Warns Marijuana Growers After Many Examples of Attempts to Cheat Testing. State investigators have identified numerous examples of marijuana product adulteration by businesses attempting to cheat contaminant testing, according to the Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division. Marijuana contamination from mold or illegal pesticides has been an ongoing problem since recreational pot sales began in Colorado. Decontamination and remediation techniques for failed batches of marijuana were approved by the Med in 2021, but the process can be costly and doesn't guarantee the harvest will be salvaged. In a June 2nd memo sent to the Med to business owners, state officials warned of a looming public health threat caused by shady techniques to cheat Colorado testing protocols. The memo says, and I quote, "The Marijuana Enforcement Division has identified many examples of regulated marijuana businesses adulterating test batches in order to pass required testing, which has led to administrative actions, penalties, and in some cases, health and safety advisories. Adulterating or altering test batches is a significant public safety concern because test batch is no longer representative of the harvest or production batch it was pulled from. The Med has issued 13 marijuana recalls this year alone, all of them for microbials, mold, and yeast. However, the vast majority of Med recall notices also cited businesses for marijuana improperly submitted for testing or not submitted for testing in accordance with Med rules. Ultraviolet light and ozone machines are approved remediation techniques used to kill mold in an entire batch and are accepted practices in today's marijuana industry. But the Med says that some growers who know their plants will fail have been willing to falsify testing samples in order to avoid the financial hit of paying for remediation, retesting, or destroying the harvest. Reports of cultivations using radon machines, microwaving marijuana flower, and dosing samples in hydrogen peroxide have surfaced at the state and rulemaking hearings in disciplinary settlements. In 2022, members of the Colorado Attorney General's office warned marijuana industry representatives about growing number of contamination cases involving potentially adverse health effects for dispensary shoppers. In the Med's recent memo, department heads warned business owners that evidence of willful or deliberate adulteration or alteration of marijuana testing samples could result in license suspension, revocation, up to six figures in fines, and a Class 2 misdemeanor for violating public safety. In the past, the Med has not come down this hard. Details of an adulteration settlement between the Med and Denver wholesale grower Bonsai Cultivation were released earlier this year. In the settlement, Bonsai admitted to manipulating samples in 2019 by covering marijuana with hydrogen peroxide and then treating it with a UV light and ozone machine. 2 years before such remediation was approved by the state, the Med fined Bonsai $20,000 as part of the state settlement. In 2020, Denver had fined the company $150,000 in connection with the same incident. Bonsai's license to operate was never suspended. The memo also adds, if the division finds evidence of willful or deliberate test batch adulteration or alteration, it will recommend the strictest penalties possible to the state licensing authority. A bill passed this session by the Colorado legislature will soon allow state investigators to embargo or destroy marijuana products that are deemed unsafe to the public, much in the way the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment regulates food and drinks. That measure was signed by the governor last March and is set to take effect this summer. It should give marijuana regulators the ability to move faster when disciplining bad actors or quarantining potentially unsafe products, according to the State Department of Revenue, which oversees the Med. Just so you know, some facts and figures, between 15 and 20% of batches around the country fail for some kind of microbial or pesticide contamination. In Las Vegas, where I am, we see about a 12 to a 13% failure rate, and about 95% of the failure rates here in Las Vegas are for yeast and mold and for aspergillus. In Vegas, also, they allow for radiation and X-ray machines to remediate cannabis, and that has been the big thing going around for cannabis growers here. I'm Todd Denkin with High at 9 News. What do you guys think about this dirty weed and people trying to cheat the system in Colorado? Saman?
Well, I'll get in on this one. So I just want to take a second to shout out, the good people at the state lab doing work. My friend Julia Bramante, she works the CDPHE lab, and she's the one that's checking all this stuff. Doing double-blind testing, taking right off the shelf and doing the test herself. So she's actually at the forefront of making sure that she's keeping all of these guys in line, as well as all of the other companies selling anything to consumers in Colorado. So, shout out to her. Shout out to, the folks doing the testing at the testing labs, and shout out to the Med for, trying to resolve this, because it is a rampant issue. I mean, people have been doing this for a long time. This is not something new. Cannabis operators, will cut corners. We will take that rope. We will hang ourselves with it, because this is the onus is on us to actually perform here and to produce something. But it's like a ethical issue, when people have, a business to run and they have to produce product that's quality for people to ingest. This is, ultimately, why we need these regulations, because we are gonna ruin this opportunity unless we take it a little more seriously. So, all I can say is that if you're growing weed and you have to dry it and cure it and do your thing, I mean, you have to get a protocol. You have to get an SOP that works for you. Everywhere you go in this country, there's a different microclimate. You have, you have to situate yourself and the infrastructure of your operation suitably to control that. And that's really it. And you know, cheating is just like as American as apple pie, Todd. So, you know, I mean,
That's for sure.
What Todd mentioned, they're radiating flour here in Nevada to cheat the test, the lab test, but not really doing or understanding what harm that has on the people that are consuming then radiated flour, right? And so that's really what like you said, Saman, you should be putting more emphasis and more energy towards your SOP that works, so you don't create moldy, bad flour in the first place. And then you don't have to do that to the flour. And it's not all of the cultivators here in Nevada, thank God. And so, but it is a shame because what I've been insisting that the CCB do is put that on the labels. It should be on the labels. The consumer has the right to know.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I have a question in regards with all this. You don't tell this to the same people that go and put their food in the microwave.
I don't put my food in the microwave.
I know you don't, but 99% of the people do.
Microwave.
And also,
not the microwave that's the problem. It's microwaving in plastic containers that's the problem, Jason.
I mean,
we talked about PFAS a while back.
It's just like bad cannabis. It's the delivery method. You know, if you're consuming with cheap metal and off gases, the cannabis isn't going to kill you, but you know that's not good.
And also, you know, the machine. Yeah, the machines that they're using here in Vegas that do radiate these plants. It's the exact same machine that is used to radiate every item in the grocery store. So it kills all the mold and yeast that is in all of the food on every shelf in every grocery store.
Your food's already radiated. Like
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So it's a safe way to remediate, but I think you're right. It should be on the label. And and Saman, you're right too. It's because it's all about cleanliness. I've been to, 150 grows if I've been to one, and it's really all about cleanliness. The growing environment for a cannabis plant is the exact ideal situation for microbials, and especially yeast and mold. And if you keep, dead leaves laying around your grow, you're going to attract aspergillus, which is again a deadly part of what we're finding in cannabis products. And there's no tolerance for it, zero tolerance for aspergillus. If it's present, it's a foul. If it's not present,
cardboard boxes.
It's a pass.
Make sure you're not storing cardboard boxes. But can I just be honest, friends? There's a lot of like those pathogens. But it's us, it's humans. It's not washing our hands after we poop and then touching the product that you then put in your mouth. That is
exactly what it is.
People sick.
100%.
Hand washing. That is number one.
Dale Scott Jones getting real. Exactly. No, I mean, look, the key is optimization. Optimization is an ongoing process. Everyone needs to optimize and keep optimizing their businesses and their protocols. This is the world we live in. We chose to be here. We have to be stewards of the opportunity and like actually treat it correctly. But Dale's
all about staying. It's all about
Todd, wash your hands, people.
When you see this stuff, when you see the absence of interstate commerce and more states are reporting surplus, do you see this as being a much broader issue to the industry nationwide?
Yeah, of course, because the longer it sits in a bag on a shelf, it breeds microbes. I mean, they literally feed on the plant and they feed on some of the nutrients inside the plant, right? So the longer it stays on the shelf, the worse it gets, even if it's already passed a test, right? There's no real time limit to sell it. So you can pass a test, it could sit on a shelf for 2 months and it could be equally as infected as something that has failed a test just because it's sitting there and the microbials, I guarantee you, are growing and expanding and multiplying inside that bag for sure.
And so I just have one question for Dale, but I just want to say that I do not think that this is as big of a deal as everyone else does, because everyone consumes food, not the whole population consumes cannabis. And if you don't have to label the radiation on your food, then I don't see the reason to label it on your cannabis. Just saying, I think it's an overreach. But nonetheless, Dale, do you teach Do you teach these types of remediation in Amsterdam? Are students taught this when they go through different types of classes?
They touch on it in our extractions and manufacturing program, and we do have special guest instructors that will deep dive on some of these topics, as well as a weekly Friday Hort Lab where you can just kind of come in and ask anything. I challenge folks to come stump our faculty, and if we don't know, we will figure it out. Sometimes with you, because some of the stuff isn't figured out yet, and it really is important. I think a point was made earlier. I believe it was Nicole. It's more about what customers need to know and what customers are demanding to know. There's a lot of information that is required on labels that is not really required to be able to enjoy cannabis. It's just pushing the price up. However, those brands that want to engage in, full spectrum terpene testing, there are customers for that. And there are folks that will pay for that extra knowledge, just like there are folks that will drive further to buy raw goat's milk because it is not irradiated. So, there's a customer for that, no matter who you are. It's America.
Let me just add one thing in that it really is all about education. I mean, we teach at our lab, we go out to cultivations and teach aseptic techniques and when you should use alcohol and when you should use bleach and when you should use both, right? Because bleach is the only thing that will eradicate Aspergillus DNA. And that's what we test for in the labs is we literally test for Aspergillus DNA and bleach is the only thing that removes it.
All right, we got to keep it moving. We are way behind time right now, you guys. Way behind time. But coming up next, that's right, she's the Purple Plant Magic, and she's back. She's been on vacation for like 2 weeks, floating around the country, doing the work for minorities for medical marijuana. Oh yeah, that's right. It is Nicole Buffong.
Hey, fam. I have missed you all so very much. Thanks for the welcome back, Jason. So real quick, my story comes out of Nevada. I'm really excited. You all have heard me talking about it all week. I mean, for months since February, since the legislative session started. Senate Bill 277. So Nevada lawmakers passed marijuana reforms bill. This was on Forbes.com by AJ Harrington, our friend. Nevada lawmakers last week passed an omnibus bill, marijuana reforms bill, that increases the possession limit on cannabis and gives licensed dispensaries new flexibility to serve both medical marijuana patients and adult use cannabis customers. It's interesting how they use medical marijuana patients and adult use cannabis customers in the same sentence. It's weird. Anyway, the measure, Senate Bill 277, received final approval from the Nevada legislature on June 5th and now awaits action from Republican Governor Joe Lombardo. The legislation makes several substantial changes to Nevada's laws governing marijuana, which was legalized for medical use in the state in 2001. In 2016, voters passed Question 2, a ballot measure that legalized recreational marijuana in Nevada for adults 21 and older. That ballot measure actually changed the Constitution of Nevada. Senate Bill 277 more than doubles the possession and purchase limits for marijuana, increasing the cap from 1 ounce of cannabis to 2.5 ounces. The legislation also doubles the limits for cannabis concentrates from 1/8 of an ounce to 1/4 ounce. Possession and purchase limits are commonly included in state laws and legalize cannabis in an effort to prevent regulated cannabis from being resold on the illicit market. But Democratic State Senator Dallas Harris, who is our champion in this, the primary sponsor of the legislation, noted in a recent meeting of the Senate Commerce and Labor Committee that such provisions unfairly target cannabis. We were there to make comment publicly in April for that meeting. There's no assumption that if buying, this is Senator Dallas's quote, there's no assumption that if I'm buying a 48 pack of beer, I must be doing something illicit with it afterwards, Harris told the committee. During public testimony for the legislation, witnesses appearing to oppose the bill, which was an officer, he was out of the sheriff's department, witnesses appearing up to oppose the bill noted that consumers can already circumvent the current cannabis purchase limits by visiting multiple dispensaries in the same day, leading Harris to note that such purchases are illegal. Please do not do that, Senator Harris responded. That is currently a felony. Hence, why we're trying to up the possession limit and allow folks to be able to engage in that kind of bulk buying if they would like to, whether it be for medical reasons or for none of our damn business. The legislation also allows all adult use cannabis dispensaries to sell cannabis products to medical marijuana patients. Surprise, surprise, in Nevada, when adult use was legalized, they did not allow you to also have a medical license. So you had to pay for both separately if you wanted to sell to both medical patients and to adult use consumers. Beginning next year, state regulators would no longer be able to issue new licenses for medical marijuana businesses, except in areas that have prohibited the operation of adult use cannabis businesses. Senate Bill 277 also relaxes a ban on individuals with felony convictions from obtaining licenses to operate or work at cannabis businesses in Nevada. This was our social justice component of this bill. We were really excited to be able to remove the barrier of entry for people who have served their time and should be allowed to work in the cannabis industry. Well, unfortunately, we were told by our lobbyists, shout out to them for helping us through this legislative session. And I'm speaking of the Chamber of Cannabis. That's who led this Senate bill with Senator Harris. Unfortunately, they told us it would not pass, that the governor would veto the bill if it would allow for this stipulation, this regulation to be removed. If this legislation put it forward and legalized for the employer to decide who works at their business and not prevent them from even applying. Well, we were told we couldn't pass it. And so what happened is, under the bill, individuals with such convictions would be permitted to petition the state to work at a licensed cannabis business without first having their records expunged. Abby Kaufman, the secretary of the nonprofit trade group of the Chamber of Cannabis, shout out to Abby, said that the measure is designed to give those with prior felonies new opportunities to stay on the right side of the law. We're hoping to allow a way to enter the workforce to reduce recidivism by increasing those opportunities, and also to hopefully mitigate some of the unlicensed market. What if people aren't able to work in this growing industry and that cannabis is truly their background? Senate Bill 277 now heads to Lombardo, who has already vetoed at least 24 pieces of legislation since taking office at the beginning of the year. A good thing about the state of Nevada is that if the governor does not sign within 10 days and does not veto after legislation closes, then it becomes law. He has until this Friday. So I want to say, again, shout out to the Chamber of Cannabis, all the work that we've done, all legislative session to get Senate Bill 277 passed. We're making history again here in Nevada. 2 years ago, we legalized adult consumption lounges, adult use consumption lounges in the state of Nevada, which you'll be seeing opening this summer. And so we're keeping a close eye on this, and I should have news for you next week to see if this legislation will actually become the law in the state of Nevada. This is Nicole Buffong reporting for High at 9 News.
Oh, big news.
Yeah, that's big news.
News right.
It's big news. We gotta keep it rolling though. I do want to touch on that one, but I'm sorry, Nicole, we are so short on time.
Okay.
So we got to roll into the last one. And taking us home today is a patient advocate, 15-year regulated market industry vet, and fellow dope dad, secure enough in his manhood to sit on a grown Serbian man's lap in his grave. Congrats on the Nuggets victory last night, Saman Razani.
Let's give it up. Let's give it up. We're definitely living that mile high life around here. You already know. Big shout out to my Denver Nuggets. 36 years for that championship. Been through them all. And you know, everyone's hating on the Nuggets. They're marginalized just like the small businesses in cannabis. But speaking of small businesses, there's some more coming up in Alabama. And we got news of the winners of the licenses in Alabama. First Alabama medical marijuana business license is awarded by State Commission from Marijuana Moment. And I just want to read a quote. This was the quote before the article. It says, more than likely there will not be more than likely not there will be lawsuits just looking from other states, just looking at how it's gone from elsewhere. Quoted by somebody, doesn't say. The players of the nascent medical cannabis industry have been chosen amid suspicion about the process and criticism from those left out. The Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission Monday awarded 16 licenses for production and distribution of medical cannabis out of more than 90 firms that applied for licenses. To the recipients, let me say that we look forward to working with you in a partnership manner in which all of you know what lies ahead, said John McMillan, the commissioner's the commission's director. The Alabama legislature approved a medical cannabis program for the state in 2021, but the bill authorizing the program did not allow licenses to be issued until September 1st of 2022. The AMCC began accepting applications late last year. When the product is available, patients certified by the participating physicians for medical cannabis use for 15 conditions, including cancer, chronic pain, depression, and Parkinson's disease, will have to apply for a card to obtain medical cannabis from licensed dispensers. The law forbids smoking medical cannabis or consuming it in food. I'll read that again. The law forbids smoking medical cannabis or consuming it in food. It will likely be available as tablets, capsules, gelatins, oils, gels, creams, suppositories, transdermal patches, or inhalable oils or liquids. Cannabis gummies will only be allowed to be peach flavored. The commission can award up to 12 licenses to cultivate cannabis, 4 licenses for those who want to process it, and 4 licenses to dispense the product. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Commissioners may also provide up to 5 licenses for integrated facilities, which cultivate, process, and distribute medical cannabis. The commission stated that each integrated facility will operate 5 dispensaries that will be responsible for growing cannabis and selling the product in dispensaries. 38 entities applied for the integrated license facilities licenses. Another 12 applicants vied for the 12 cultivator licenses. Another 12 applied for the 4 available processor licenses, while 18 have applied for the 4 dispensary licenses. An unknown number of transport and testing licenses is also available. The commission has received 11 applications for the transport license and 3 applications for testing licenses. The commission has integrated facilities licenses too. There's a list. I don't know if we can get that list up. I don't know if I really want to just like jump through this because we got to go. But only one company has been awarded the testing license. That's called Grand Bay, and that's in Mobile. Many of the winning companies' applications are partly or fully redacted on the commission's website. Alabama, like Georgia, limited the number of licenses that will be available for its medical cannabis industry, and that could lead to litigation. Many were left disappointed after the commission made its announcement in what became a highly competitive process for securing one of the coveted rights to be part of the industry. I felt like the commission did the best that they could with the tools that they were handed to them, said Antoine Mordecan, the CEO of Native Black Cultivation, one of those companies who was denied a cultivating license. We have to figure out what comes out later about the reasons why we were not selected or why they made the selections they did. Mordecan said he plans to apply again should future licenses become available. I am sure it will be a hard decision for the commission to make, said Liberty Duke, one of the board members of Hornet Medicinals LLC, a company that was denied an integrated license. I'm just anxious to see the grading metrics. Some of the firms that were awarded integrated licenses were multi-state entities or had years of experience in the industry. TheraTrue has a presence in Georgia and Virginia. Another was Verona, with dispensaries in Chicago and throughout the Northeast. We've always had a long-term focus on strengthening our position in the South, and with the addition of Alabama to our footprint, we have an excellent opportunity to increase our presence in the important medical markets, an important market as cannabis acceptance and state-level programs continue to spread across the growing Southwest region, said George Archos, the founder and CEO of Verano. The medical cannabis law required applicants to be majority owned by persons or entities that have resided in Alabama for 15 years, but it did not forbid out-of-state firms from taking minority stakes in those companies. Justin Aday, general counsel for the commission, provided highlights of the process for selecting those who would receive the license, going over choosing who would evaluate the applicants and attempts to make the process as fair as possible. There were portions of it that were blinded, Aday said about the evaluation process. Some portions of the process could not be completely blinded, meaning the board had some information related to the companies they were evaluating because of the context. But other than that, Aday said, the evaluators performed the evaluation objectively. But much of the decision criteria and ranking was left largely shrouded in mystery, with few willing to discuss how every factor was weighed and to come to a final decision. They did the best they could and tried to be as objective as possible, said former state rep Mike Ball, Republican from Madison.
Saman,
Yeah.
Saman, we got to wrap this up.
Okay, well, that's pretty much it. It's they gave the licenses to 16 people. Some people got mad that didn't get it, and we'll see how it all unfolds. But
gonna move into the country and eat a lot of peaches.
I want to try.
Shout out to Justin Bieber, corporate master of the world. Canada. It's Canada.
I'm interested to know how many of those business owners are minority or Black owned. That's the first thing I'd like to know, that what that number looks like. And then the other thing is shout out to Antoine Mordecon, who is our state chapter director for Alabama. He was working hard to get one of those licenses, and there will be litigation. So we'll see how it turns out.
Antoine's also a head coach in Connecticut, helping the Connecticut social equity entrepreneurs get across the finish line in Connecticut's groundbreaking social equity accelerator that Oaksterdam's running. So Antoine is amazing, and he deserved this. And, you know, I agree with you. I'm also curious what kind of minority-owned business and women-owned business might actually exist.
Yeah, some of the criteria, you having to have a certain amount of years in business already, that eliminates a lot of those people. So
if they were busy in jail or serving a country overseas, for instance, they weren't. It's the same bullshit that happened in Florida.
Right.
I'm going to go simmer in the silent rage now.
It does not sound like another corporate cash grab at all.
It's just unfortunate.
It's okay. Antoine can start a converted Delta 9 company and sell it legally like everyone else is doing in Alabama.
Man, let's wrap this up.
As long as he has peach flavors.
All right, y'all. Thank you all for joining us for yet another episode of High 9 News. You can always catch us weekdays at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our super fans showing love, getting their comments projected live on the big screen. Also to the live audience members and online supporters catching us across all media platforms. I hope we're still on Twitch, tuning in and giving us feedback on the daily headlines of chaos. Our vetted industry correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and your respected opinions to the table. Our production team, Cloud Media Partners, House of Fuego, The Vortex, The 91 Club, all our sponsors helping us keep the lights on, keeping our AV struggles to a minimum. And of course, the lovely Jaja Simone holding things down over in Clubhouse. To the haters out there, God don't like ugly. And always, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason the High at 9 News team shows up every single day to read these headlines. It has been Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. The show's over. You've all been blessed with today's top industry headlines. Hope it was enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. Saman Razani, Mr. Denver Nugget fan, the champion guy himself. You got the outro today, man.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a positive and blessed week. And remember, even the guys who are marginalized make it to the top and win them championships. So keep fighting that fight.
Are you higher than a giraffe's ass today?